This is the tutorial 1.4 part 3 on converting units, and in this part we actually start converting units. So before we do, let's give some thought to what's involved. First, to convert a unit you need a conversion factor. This is sometimes so intuitive to you, you may not think you're using one. So here's this question. If you are asked how many minutes are equivalent to 120 seconds, what would you do? Well, you would use a conversion factor, probably without thinking about it. You'd say, oh, there's 60 seconds in a minute. So you would take 120 seconds and divide by 60. That conversion factor, 60 seconds per minute, is so kind of familiar to you, you never even give it any thought as being something that you actually explicitly needed. But you did. And if you had gone the other direction, if someone said, an event took 2 minutes, how many seconds is that? Again, you would easily know to multiply by the conversion factor of 60 seconds per minute. So in the one case you divide, in the other case you multiply. So we just have to become very explicit about that and recognize that that's what we're doing. We always have to multiply by a conversion factor written in the correct way. We are then in effect either dividing or multiplying by a particular number. The next slide I think makes this pretty clear. I drew out a graph here, and along the vertical I showed centimeters, and along the horizontal the equivalent in meters. So notice what happens. If I take and I kind of drag this along so you can kind of see different values, I just kind of look at these numbers for a minute, see if they make sense. If someone asked 6 meters, what is that in centimeters? Well, you know what to do. You multiply by 100 centimeters per meter. Or on the graph you'd say 6 meters is equivalent to, you come up and look, is equivalent to 600 centimeters, because these are simply just ratios that we're working with. How about if it went the other way? Someone said, if something was 600 centimeters long, how many meters is that? You'd come over and you'd look, oh, 600 centimeters is the same as 6 meters. Or here's how we would write it down when we solve the ratio. 600 centimeters at, for every 1 meter, 100 centimeters, we divide by 100 to get 6. So notice very explicitly here, we're multiplying to get the centimeters, and here we're dividing, and these are the two conversion factors simply written as an inverse of each other. And kind of slide around. If you want to play with this later, you can look at it just to make sure you get the logic. It's always the same. 5 meters is 500 centimeters, 500 centimeters is 5 meters, or any other number you can think of. Okay, so that's the kind of thing we're trying to do, but of course with units that are a little bit less familiar to us than centimeters to meters. So let's give it a shot. Let's look at a first example. Here's the question. 125 centimeters, what is that in kilometers? A slightly unusual question because 125 centimeters is not very long. 1¼ meter. How many kilometers is that? It's going to be a very small number of kilometers because a kilometer is a large unit. Very explicitly, how do we do it? We first figure out the relationship between the two prefixes, the two units that we have, that is the centimeter and the kilometer. We can see here what it is. The kilometer is 3 powers of 10 above the base. The centi is 2 below. And so the difference in the powers of 10 is 5 powers of 10. So I can write this equivalence. A kilometer, this big long unit, is the same as 10 to the 5th, 100,000 centimeters. Now I have to use that to try to convert the unit that I have given. So how do I go about that? Well, I've got two ways to write this. I can either multiply by a kilometer over 10 to the 5th centimeters, or by 10 to the 5th centimeters over a kilometer. Which one is correct, even if I'm dealing with units that are somewhat unfamiliar? One good way to start is kind of look at the two, at least in your mind's eye, and ask yourself which of these makes sense, without even looking at anything else. Does the first one make sense, that is, dividing by 10 to the 5th centimeters, or does the second one make sense, multiplying by 10 to the 5th centimeters per kilometer? Well, I think just intuitively you say, look, if I have 125 centimeters, it's a very relatively short distance, I'm going to have a small fraction of a kilometer, so I must divide by this large number to get the right number of kilometers. That makes sense. This one down here doesn't make sense. To say that 125 centimeters is equivalent to that number times 100,000, it can't be that number of kilometers. So just thinking about the relationship between the large and the small unit should keep you from making mistakes. But now, even more rote, and you don't have to think about it hardly at all, just look at the units. Centimeters divided by centimeters cancel, and therefore when we multiply this expression out, the unit left standing is the kilometer. So I know this has to be correct no matter what else I set up. This has to be incorrect because centimeter times centimeter is a centimeter squared divided by a kilometer doesn't even quite make sense. So I know this was incorrect just by looking at the dimensions that I have before and after, that is the units. So this is the right answer, this answer up here. But now let's actually finish the math. Let's try to work it out. So I know I have to divide by 10 to the fifth. And when I divide by 10 to the fifth, that's the same as multiplying by 10 to the negative fifth. At this point, depending on the exercise, you can leave it. But if, say, it's multiple choice or some other context you actually want to put it in scientific notation, how do you do that? The easiest thing is first write 125 out in scientific notation, 1.25 times 10 to the second. That is, I move the decimal place over 2 places to get it between the 1 and the 2. And then I add the exponents. 2 minus 5 leaves me with negative 3. So my answer, if required in scientific notation, is 1.25 times 10 to the minus 3, and it makes sense. 125 centimeters is some fraction of the much larger unit, the kilometer. All right, that's one example. Let's see if we can do one more, and then we'll just let you practice on your own. We're going to just do the same thing now, but start with the kilometer, the long unit, 125 of those, and say, how many centimeters is that? Now intuitively you're saying, oh, this time it's going to be a very large number. Lots and lots of centimeters will be equivalent to 125 kilometer. The exact same process that we went through before. Get the conversion factor. The kilometer centimeter conversion is 100,000 to 1, or 10 to the fifth centimeters per kilometer. Ask yourself which expression makes more sense. Now it's the one at the bottom. Here the kilometers cancel and you're left with centimeters. That makes sense. This doesn't make sense. Kilometer times kilometer gives you kilometer squared divided by centimeter. No, that's obviously wrong. Plus intuitively this looks right. Since I have this very long unit, the 125 kilometers is a very long length, has to be many of those centimeters will fit into that length. So I know intuitively that this has to be correct as well. I'm done. I just kind of cranked the math out. So let's make sure we can do that. I write it 125 times 10 to the fifth. Here I did not divide by 10 to the fifth, so the power of 10 remained positive. Put the 125 in scientific notation, 1.25 times 10 to the second. Add up the powers of 10. The answer is 1.25 times 10 to the seventh centimeters. That's a lot of centimeters. That's it. You'll see if you look at the text version of this tutorial, you can practice a little bit. So this is nice to practice because it's not on the quiz with time being timed and all that. And plus I show you a hint here. So this is kind of a benefit in case you at all feel frustrated or confused. So let's try one. First we'll just actually kind of look at it and say, I'll pretend we don't quite know what to do. And we'll say, well, I wasn't quite sure how to go about this. You just click on the hint if you want to see it. But I think let's try it out first. How many seconds are there in 553 hectoseconds? So hectosecond is this unit over here. So I know I'm going to take the 553 and I'm going to multiply or divide by some power of 10. Well, what's the difference in power of 10 between the base unit, the second, and the hectosecond? Well, it's 2 powers of 10. So now I have to just ask myself, which is the larger unit? Is it the hectosecond or the second? Well, the hectosecond, it's a lot. It's 100 times larger. So there'll be many more of those seconds than there are hectoseconds. So I have to multiply by 2 powers of 10 to get the answer. Now, you're looking at that, and you might say, well, that's kind of abstract looking. I liked it better where I could actually write it out. So just click on the hint, and you can see it. Here it shows you 553 hectoseconds times 100 second per hectoseconds. You see the hectoseconds cancel, and the answer is 553 E2. This E2 means times 10 to the second power. So at least let's try just one more that you recognize that you can practice these nicely on here. How about this one? How many gigamoles are equivalent to 343 kilomoles? All right, so 343, then I have to either multiply or divide by some conversion factor. I look, I say, all right, giga is 9 above the base, kilo is 3 above the base. The difference in 9 and 3 is 6 powers of 10. So therefore I'm going to say E minus 6. Now, why did I put minus 6? Well, I know gigamole is a much larger unit than the kilometer and the kilomole. So therefore I'm going to have many less. I'm going to have a fraction of these. or if I wrote it out, I could see it by looking at the units cancel. Oh, I clicked too fast and then we missed. I clicked twice. I didn't mean to do that. Now, when you're in the box, just hit return. I'm sorry, hit enter. Don't click so you can see the answer. In any case, the hints on the side here show you how to do it in case you're insecure. So kind of get your bearings and then practice on your own. Okay, so this is a great place to, if you need the tutorial help, practice. Otherwise, just go straight to the exercise and work with that until you're pretty good at it, and then you'll be ready to do well on the quiz. Great. Good luck. We'll see you in class to talk about it if you need help, as always.